So yeah, I've decided to sit on my floor today, right next to my trash bin, where I belong, so I can now become a glass mage, or ass mage, whatever suits me. Hello everyone, my name is Holly and welcome back to another video. I hope you're all doing well, and if you're not, I hope your day gets better. I have a huge, massive book haul to share with you today. It is big oof energy. It's actually why I'm sitting on the floor today, because it's much easier than hefting this monstrosity of a stack every which way. And plus I might be here for a while, so might as well get comfy. In fact, I have 14 books here. They could fit an entire shelf alone. Oh, what have I done? Do I have room for these? No. But do they make me happier? Oh yeah. Of course, a bunch of new shiny books will boost my happiness, but there are much more important ways to help improve mental health, which is a great segue into today's sponsor, which is BetterHelp. BetterHelp is professional counseling done online. Their goal is to raise awareness, fight stigma, and provide support to those who are suffering with mental health. So if you don't want to see somebody face to face, if that's intimidating to you, I get it. You don't have to. And it could not be more simple to begin. You just fill out a questionnaire to help assess what your specific needs are, and then you get matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. You can then schedule secure video and phone sessions, plus you can exchange unlimited messages, and everything you share is completely confidential. And if for whatever reason you and your therapist don't mesh, they make it really easy to request a new one at no additional charge at any time. And they are way more affordable than your traditional offline therapy, and you can sign up for financial aid during the sign up process, even with their very broad range of expertise that they offer. If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, please share BetterHelp with them. If you use my link down below, you'll get 10% off your first month. Thank you BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so I'm going to start with the books that Rebellion Publishing sent over, because why not? And the first one being Flames of Mira. This is an ARC, as the cover doesn't have anything on it, but the finished book will look exactly like this, but with the title and the author name and, you know, all the generic book stuff. But I will show you the spine because this is pretty much what the book will look like. I've been excited about this one for a very long time, especially when I first heard the tagline, "An epic fantasy in a world of ice and fire," and I was like, that sounds like Game of Thrones, but the rest of the synopsis sounds very unique and original. It got me very hyped to read it when it mentioned being trapped in a volcano under like frozen lands and some strange chemical binding process to humans which causes magic. Like, is this a volcano slash lava fantasy? Because we need more of those, just like how we need more jungle fantasy. Not only am I intrigued by the environment and world building, which sounds like S tier, but the plot overall sounds really cool as well. It follows Ig, who was being held captive by a horrific cult, but is rescued and is wrapped up in a rebellion. It sounds like it has like some world-ending choices and the perfect read for summer because it's literally hot. It's liquid hot magma.
Liquid hot magma.
Austin Powers joke. Is Dr. Evil in this? Okay, moving on. The Knaves of Secrets. This is another ARC, and there are 4 different versions, so this is the one that I got. The finished cover to this looks incredibly different, and if I'm being honest, I like this style of cover a lot more. I think it's a lot more appealing nonetheless. I'll put up a picture of what I think the finished cover is going to look like. Like, come on. This is so much more fun. This comes out this month and it has a very hefty comparison along with it. The Lies of Locke Lamora meets Casino Royale. It has a lot to live up to. It's following multiple perspectives, but our primary character is a failed magician turned con man who has a small crew of cheats whose goal is to win card games. As the title suggests, there's a lot of secrets, dangerous, large-scale politics. It sounds very inventive, and possibly some edge of your seat moments as they enter this dangerous game of cards. So if you're into that sort of thing, I'm mostly here for the cover, if I'm being honest. And up next are all the books that Orbit sent to me. I've actually read a couple of these already. I'm currently reading another one, and will be reading the others very soon. So I'm proud of myself for not falling behind on ARCs, but it is Orbit, and I will always prioritize their books because they are like family to me at this point. One Foot in the Fade. This is the 3rd book in the Fetch Phillips series, which I totally adore. It's not a series for everyone. In fact, it's a fantasy noir about a human mercenary for hire who solves crime in a city that has lost all of its magic. I read this in May and it was so different than the other books, for both good and bad reasons, which I'll get into more in my review. Actually, my May wrap-up will be my next video, so turn on my post notifications so you don't miss it. This is definitely a series worth trying out for sure, and I'll honestly read anything Luke Arnold writes at this point. I think his writing and storytelling are great, and I look forward to more books in this universe. Honestly, when they first revealed this cover, I thought it was going to have something to do with like the dead or like the underworld or something, because it has a very graveyard look to it. I don't know if anyone else gets those vibes. It's very different than that. The Stardust Thief. This is a book you're probably going to be seeing everywhere for the next while for good reason, because it is actually a really great book. I followed along with the audiobook actually, and it's a full cast. So there are 3 main characters and they each have their own narrator, and all 3 of them are fantastic. Okay, I should probably save the rest of my thoughts on that for my review. I'm really grateful for this hardcover copy. It's gorgeous. It's a very pristine book. I did have the ARC, but I gave that away over on my Twitter. Go follow me, as I do giveaways every month, it feels like, which I love doing. I have the opportunity to own ARCs, and I always want to pass them along. So this is inspired by stories from 1001 Nights, so it's a desert fantasy. I love those, and our group of characters have to journey across the desert through different cities in search of a magical lamp. This book is full of twists and turns. The magic system is really cool, involving magical artifacts. Really interesting stuff, and I wholeheartedly recommend it. Especially the audiobook. I'm stacking them here, but there's no way they're all going to fit, so you will probably see the stack move eventually. The Ballad of Perilous Graves. This is one I'm currently reading, and it has been so enjoyable. I don't want to give out all of my thoughts yet because I want to save them for my official review. It takes place in an alternate version of New Orleans where the city is run by music, but some songs of power have escaped, so our main character Perry is tasked to try to get the songs back, because without them, it could lead to the city's downfall. It sounds so wholesome and lovely. I do have the audiobook to this, and I'm actually going to be switching over to that because I just think listening to the narrator bring this story to life is going to be so fun, because my inner white girl voice isn't doing it. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. In the meantime, let's talk about this book physically, because wow, it is so fun to look at. It's bright orange in the front, and then on the spine is bright yellow. It really stands out on the bookshelf, and when you open it, the end papers are the map. I love it when books do that. It is full color. I love this, the dead side of town, and there's like these little skellies. I love the puns. I don't know, this book is one of the prettiest books. They designed it so well. Eyes of the Void. This is a sequel to Shards of Earth, which I actually plan to read this summer. I have the audiobooks, which I think sound like such a fun way to digest this space opera series, so I'm very excited about it. I don't know, I used to not be an audiobook person, but this, like the last 2 months, I have been strictly audiobook, and when I say that, I follow along with either the ebook or the physical copy, because I cannot put on an audiobook and just sit there and listen or do things and listen. I have to see the words. I'm weird. Anyways, the series takes the idea that humanity is on the brink of extinction and how one man's discovery could save or destroy everyone. This has a very Mass Effect feeling to it, especially mentioning this alien race called the Architects. It reminds me of the Reapers, who are not so nice. I just need a good sci-fi book in my life, and I think these could fill that void. Both books have beautiful, bright spines, and they look great on the shelves. Yep, the stack is moving. Speaking of books that look great on the bookshelves, the Martyr. This is the sequel to the Pariah, and I am so satisfied with how this cover looks and how this book just feels overall. I think they did such a great job designing it, and I think they're the prettiest covers from Anthony Ryan in my opinion. So I am a bit of a bad book reviewer. I actually started the Pariah around the time it came out last year, and I was enjoying it, but it was one of those books where I sat down to never pick up again. It just happens sometimes. So I need to pick that book up again and reread it so I can move on to this one, and I'm really pumped to do that. The story follows an assassin/thief-like character as he suffers a devastating betrayal and sets on a path of vengeance. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the third book will look like, since they went with a black and white theme for the series. So I'm going to assume that the third book is going to be black. Predictions, man. Okay, so the last book that Orbit sent me, they were very generous. It's Half a Soul. So Orbit is republishing the series, which is very exciting. They've been acquiring books like that a lot recently and giving them a fresh new look, and I am all for it. So when this book was offered to me for review, I hesitated because it's two words I typically try to avoid, and that is Regency romance. But I looked more into it and it sounds really funny, and I'd much rather read a humorous romance than a gooey emotional one. And Angela, who works at Orbit, said something on Twitter about how good it was, and I got suckered into it. And now I am excited to read it, and I plan to in June. It is a very short, and they are also republishing this whole trilogy in 3 short months, so 1 book per month. This one comes out in June, book 2 in July, and book 3 in August. It sounds so different than my normal reads. It's compared to Bridgerton, but if it was fantasy, or has a dash of fantasy, I should say. And it might just be like the pick-me-up book that I need in these trying times. It's supposed to be witty and charming, and I'm looking forward to that lightheartedness. Okay, I think we're about halfway through. So Tor sent over a couple books, and the first one being In the Shadow of Lightning, the hardcover, and the ARC. I actually have the ARC already packaged. There was a little mishap, but it was a good one because I am doing a giveaway on my Twitter for the ARC. I'm not sure if it's still running or not by the time this video goes up, but yeah, one of you lucky readers will get that. But anyways, let's talk about this beautiful finished hardcover, which is hefty. It is nearing 560 pages. And what's cool is the PR package came with some really cool stuff. So like this really big map, which I think is only half of it because the book has 2 maps in it. A map of the Grint, Delta, and Western Asa. It kind of has this like picture taken from a satellite in space look to it. Does that make sense? And then we have this letter, which I had Darren read this out to me in a British accent, and it was kind of great. I saw the word bubble, and it was like, British me up, baby. It also came with this metal keychain / necklace pendant, so I can now become a glass mage, or ass mage, whatever suits me. Okay, so Brian McClellan is a very beloved author in the SFF space. He's mostly known for his Powder Mage series, and what's cool is his hardcover oddly matches very well with those books. This promises powerful magical families, warring nations, so probably a lot of battles, and apparently a very complex magic system that involves glass. And I guess we can kind of get an idea on how complex because there are math problems on the slip of paper with different powers like NB squared and degrees. So yeah, that's going to be fun. I failed every math class throughout my entire childhood, and to graduate I had to take a dumb math class. I know that's not the right word, but to me, it is. And it's funny because Darren at the time, this is our senior year, he didn't need to take any type of math class, but he took that class with me so he could give me all the answers. No regrets. Anyways, I'm really excited to read this. I really hope to get to it either this month or in July. And then I have A Strange and Stubborn Endurance. This is an adult fantasy coming out next month, and it's described as a Byzantine-inspired fantasy, queer romance, and political murder mystery. So there is a lot going on to it, and I jumped on the opportunity to receive a copy because I love the cover. I think it really stands out. This one follows Velison, who is about to be married to a girl from a neighboring kingdom, but a confrontation reveals to his family that he prefers men. This leads to some hiccups, but a new solution is soon discovered, and he is now forced to marry the girl's brother instead, which is forbidden, and it causes a faction to want to end that alliance, so they have to try and survive it together. It sounds very drama-filled and an emotional fantasy as well. This releases in July, I believe, so not long of a wait. A Taste of Golden Iron. So this says it's a June release on the ARC, but I'm pretty sure it's actually coming out in August. So yeah, this is a fantasy romance. I don't think the beautiful cover is hiding that. In fact, it was actually the cover that made me want to read this book. This has a prince and bodyguard setup happening, which I think a lot of you are going to pine over, but is also fueled with political intrigue and conspiracies where the prince takes up responsibility for finding out who's behind the mysterious crimes in his country, which of course leads to him and his bodyguard spending more time together and getting closer. I really think it could surprise me. I love the idea of 2 characters solving crimes together, especially at a more medieval royal-like setting. It just sounds fantastic, and I'm excited to read it. So Angry Robot was so kind to surprise me with 2 books, and one of them being an upcoming release I had never heard of before, and wow, it sounds really cool, and that is The Last Blade Priest. So I really don't know much about this book, so bear with me as we both learn together. This is all about a religious war, and it has necromancy, which really calls out to me. One of my favorite things to do in Skyrim was to bring back characters to fight for me, so I'm here for it. So it follows follows two groups of people. One group are considered master builders who possess magical abilities to see the structure around them, allowing them to have expert craftsmanship, while the other group consists of the last two blade priests, who are tasked with protecting the mountain. But a betrayal occurs. I'm assuming that is where the story branches off from. It sounds really cool. I actually really like the simplicity of the cover, and it's a pretty long one, like over 500 pages. So a lot of story to get into. And then I have The Warrior. I'm really excited for this one. It's the sequel to The Coward, which is a book I really liked last year. And also this is only a duology, so this is technically the conclusion. It's a very traditional fantasy following a quest-like adventure, but what made me love it was its main character and the camaraderie it had. I really love a group of characters journeying together and fighting monsters, and that's exactly what the story is all about. So I'm very thrilled to have this release in my hands. It comes out in August, so still a bit of a wait, but plenty of time still for me to pick it up, though waiting is a little bit agonizing. I actually loved the end of The Coward, so I'm very much squirming in my seat to find out what is happening to our characters, and I'm really happy that they kept with the same theme of these covers. That was one of my biggest compliments to The Coward, was how much I loved the cover, and they pretty much kept it the same. And I love the green. Next, Sourcebooks Fire surprised me with a couple books, and the first one being this really cool arc of Monsters Born and Made. It actually came in this really cool slipcase, which is really fancy. There's even like a bookmark right here, which looks like a Willy Wonka ticket, and the actual cover is very pretty. So this is a YA fantasy that primarily takes place in a world of oceans filled with dangerous monsters, and humanity is clinging for dear life on the scattered islands. We follow two girls, one from the upper class who has to take part in this race called the Glory Race, which involves chariots, and the winner receives gold in glory. And the other girl is poor, so she can't afford medicine for her chronically ill sister, so she has to cheat her way into this race. This is a very early arc. It says it comes out in September, which is a little ways away, but it's now on your radar. And finally, the last book of this haul is one of the prettiest books that I received these last couple weeks, and that is a finished copy of Burn Down, Rise Up. This book is so gorgeous in person, not only because of the front cover, but because underneath the dust jacket, which looks like this. The naked book is completely designed front and back with the creatures that I'm assuming are in this story. Immediately fell in love. Plus, the story sounds really cool. It's described as Jordan Peele meets Stranger Things, so obviously a very weird story, and I can't wait to read it. I actually plan to get to this one in June, and I think it'll be a really fast read. Okay, so that is the end of this very large book haul. That was a lot of books, but I'm so excited for each and every one of them, and I'm very grateful for all the publishers who sent them my way. Tell me below which books I mentioned that you're excited for and what books you've hauled recently, because I would love to know. Also tell me if I should prioritize any of these books. Which ones would you like to see reviews from me? Also, don't forget to check out that BetterHelp offer. The link will be down below in the description box. And until we meet again, happy reading.